Right, so this is my first time ever driving, I say the 200 VI, any 200 VI. I used to own a 216 SI many years ago, and I think I've driven one or two other bubble R3s in the past, and they're a really nice thing to pilot. They're lovely and smooth. It's a good sounding engine. The case series sounds really good, and I've got to say this 1.8 VVC really does have a lot of get up and go, gumption if you like. It's hugely fun already. I'm not even going particularly quickly in it at the moment, but you can tell it just is a really lively car. I'm trying to put a couple of miles on the way to the MOT station because it's obviously still got that gunk in the exhaust pipe from well, the heater's on full still. The gunk in the exhaust pipe from the head gasket failure, and I don't want that to influence the emissions. Also, the brakes have been kind of furred up from being parked for, I must be a year it's been parked, maybe longer. I've just discovered the weirdest thing. The mirror switch works in reverse. Set it to the right hand mirror works, but when you push up it goes down, down it goes up, left, right, yeah, you get the picture, which is very confusing when you're sat at a junction adjusting your mirrors for the first time. Oh, that's even more weird. On the left hand mirror, left and right movement go up and down on the glass, and up and down goes left and right on the glass, so that's odd. I don't know why that would be happening. Anyway, the car seems to feel really nice. These seats are really squishy. It's a little bit high, to be honest. It's got little adjustments and things, but they don't really adjust low enough. Visibility I knew would be good. Headlining is flappity, which I knew. Generally, it's pretty good. The brakes don't feel magnificent, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm hoping that's just because of lack of use and you know, general mehness, and they'll be good enough though, and even enough to get through the MOT. That's the thing, I can't check everything that the MOT man checks, and so hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be all okay. I have noticed there is plenty of power, and it has spun the right hand wheel twice, pulling out of junctions briskly, which is not surprising exactly, but it's a lot of fun. I'll have to watch that, rein that in a bit. Oh, this thing is nice. It's really smooth. Almost no petrol in it though, so I will have to put some petrol in before I leave it with the MOT man. Surprising how much a performance car from 25 years ago leans. That is interesting. Feel a bit of judder as well. So I did mention during the previous video I'm going to change all the brake discs. I'm hoping that is just purely oh, rose closed again, damn it. I'm hoping purely that is just a worn brake disc and not a wooged alloy wheel. Right, not far to the MOT man now. Then we can take it for a proper drive once we've got a ticket on it. Oh, fingers crossed. Well, looky-loo what we got ourselves here. Looks to me an awful lot like a pass certificate for an MOT. Interesting to show the car has not been on the road since 2019. It last passed with 133,000 miles in 2018. Came off the road when that expired in 2019 with 134,000 miles on it. But yeah, we are now sitting in an MOT'd Rover 200 VI, which means that there's now, tell me it's 19 or 20 back on the road. I'm going to have to go and check the how many left website, but probably won't have updated just yet. But one more of these astonishingly rare Rovers is back on the road. There was one mention of a advisory for service binding, but not excessively on the near side front, which is the opposite caliper to the one that I did change. I'm hoping this is just going to be because the car has been sat for, what, three and a half years now. So I thought it had been driven actually relatively quite recently, but it has basically just been sat for a really long time. So yeah, hopefully putting a few miles on this thing will make it look nice. I've just noticed a thing to go with the droopy headlining in the back. We've got a bubbly bit of dashboard. It's a bubble dashboard. It's taking that to an extreme. But before we take it out on the road, let's make this thing look nice. Right, let's make this thing very shiny.
Right, this has got a few problems that washing won't fix. It's got a little doink here in the wing, just on here. It's got a doink on the front bumper, and the passenger wing has been repainted badly. Well, okay, but with rattle cans, it's not very flat. So those will have to be sorted out properly at a later date, but at least the rest of it will look very shiny and neat, and we can get the green stuff that's growing in the window channels out. Well, looking at how little red stuff is coming off his wheels, it shows that they were actually quite clean. It's just ground in dirt. Obviously that refurbishment will take care of one day. Let's start blasting. There is one final accessory to give a try to. It's this mad thing here, which looks like a lot of fun, just to get the chassis clean. I really bought this to clean the Freelander with after we go in grotty off-roady situations, but it's quite fun over here as well. Right, last step, microfiber dry it before we go and give it a polish. I'm not going to go any other polish, any ordinary polish. I'm going to go with One Cut, my go-to paint rescuing material. Now normally, if I was going to do One Cut, I would clay bar it first, but the paint actually feels quite smooth, and a lot of the paint isn't worth bothering with. But at least once it's clean, we can see what we're actually dealing with here. So this is Diamond Bright One Cut, which is the product I've used to save the paint on the Volvo, the Crown Vic, various other cars. It's wonderful stuff. It's quite aggressive, so you've got to be quite careful with it, but it does do good work. Probably the car looks quite decent on camera, but in reality it does look a bit flat, so let's rectify that. There is a big black mark in the paint just there, which I was hoping it would take out, but it's done a little bit, but not all of it. Let's see what kind of a shine we've got now. Oh my god, that still looks terrible. This is going to take 2 hits. There's still lots of little fine paint. Oh, it looks dreadful actually. It's really hard to see on camera, but this surface is really quite poor actually, worse than I thought it was until I started washing it. That's going to need another heavy hit with the One Cut. This actually reminds me a bit of the boot of the silver Volvo, where they let their dogs stand on the boot lid for years and years, so the deep scratches, and that was terrible. If I'd realised how bad it was, I'd have done a tape across the middle and done a before and after, but I'm second hit into it and it's now looking significantly better. A lot of the small scratches have gone, a little dimpling, I don't know what effects they are, they're disappearing as well, but in for hit number 3 on this half of the bonnet, and then we'll see where we stand with that. You know what, I'm actually going to retrospectively clay bar this. There's still stuff in the paint that's not coming out. I don't know what this has been near or under. This is the worst paint I've dealt with in a long time. And apart from obviously the Tourer, because that's just not even paint anymore. So now, here we are, 20-something years after I first wanted to go and buy myself a 200 VI but couldn't afford the car or the insurance back then. I'm at the wheel of my own finished, not exploded 200 VI. And I've got to say, it is an awful lot of fun. The engine is incredibly willing. It's lovely and smooth. It does actually roll a wee bit. And there's a fair few more jobs to do. I'll talk you all through them in a minute. We'll find somewhere to park up and have a look around the outside of the car. It's very, very calm, very quiet. It's a nice place to be, basically. Seats are very comfortable. I'll do a proper full-on review of this. But this is one of the rarest cars on the road now, and it's back on the road. We've saved this thing. It was offered to me by a viewer who watches the channel, seen me saving some of the other cars, and offered it to me as a car to save, and I'm glad we took the opportunity to take care of that and get it back on the road and looking as good as it does now. Well, looking okay, but certainly running well. All we really had to do to this car to get it back on track was change the head gasket, do a full service including timing belt, water pump, all that kind of stuff. Then change that one brake caliper. The other one, you can't really feel that it is an issue. Hopefully a few miles on this thing will solve that, and it will just free off with a bit of use. I was just about to go into a thing saying all I need to do to get this car perfect for the road is going to be to have the tracking done, because currently it's sitting with the wheel off set and it's pulling a bit to the side, and then beyond that it's cosmetics, which I'll talk you around on the outside in a minute. Apart from that, I would like to change the exhaust, because it looks like a real pea shooter, but I looked at the BRMs up at Pride of Longbridge and they've got matching tiny pea shooter exhaust as well, so I guess that's standard, but it just looks really under exhausted. That makes sense. However, just as I was swinging around to move the GoPro on the front of the car, oh, one's back. Okay, the indicators are now not working. Hit the hazard light button and the hazard light comes on permanently on the dashboard, but it's not flashing. Oh, it's indicating left again now. Okay, right, the indicators are back again. I don't know. I don't know. I'm guessing it might be an earth issue in that case then. Oh well. But it is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying driving it, that's for sure. The question now is, what do I do with it? How far do I take it? Because it needs a certain amount of cosmetic work to make it very attractive. It's a good looking car now, and if you don't really notice them straight away, it's a bit of a 10-footer kind of a thing. If you don't notice these problems, then they're not a problem. However, I have now noticed them, so I'm going to keep on noticing. So do I go and spend a bunch of money sorting all the problems out? Do I drive it as is, or do I just keep it a couple of months and then move it on to someone who can then give it the love it deserves? I mean, it's not like I haven't got other cars that need the love. The hell was that? Okay, this just fell out the bottom of the car. I can see damage where it's hit the road and jingled along. I heard it jingling behind the car. I can't see anywhere under the engine bay where it's fallen out of. I did stop with the hazard lights on and look before I drove off. I can't see anything to have indicated where it's come from, and it's very dry. It wasn't boiling hot like it had come out the engine immediately. I wonder if it's a spare something we didn't reuse and was just left in the engine bay. I'm kind of hoping that. Not that it's something major. The car doesn't feel any different. It's running fine, it's handling fine, so I think we're probably fine. But it's a little bit worrying when a bolt falls out of the car. Maybe it's something we ran over. Maybe we just ran over the thing. I don't know. Let's take a quick look around the outside of the car and show you what we're dealing with for the future. Do you know, actually, I think what it might be is one of the missing timing cover bolts that I had to go and buy replacements for. So that might have been just sat down in the bottom of the engine bay, went around a corner a bit quickly, and that was that, to flick it out onto the road. Hopefully. By the way, this is what I was going to be fitting before this part of the video, but I never got around to it because I spent so long cleaning it because the paint was so much worse than I expected. This is from Discount MG Rover Supplies. This is a bonnet lift strut set, so in a future video, possibly the next video on this car, we'll be fitting this thing because we're going to be up and down under the bonnet a few times in the future. Once I've done about 100 or 200 miles in this thing, I will make sure that I go and change the oil yet again. I'm running some pretty premium stuff in there now, so it flushes through quite nicely, but now I want to use it a bit. Oh, headlights are on still. And yeah, then flush it through again, having had the HGF. Right, so it actually looks really rather nice. Now we've spent a lot of time. I did a complete clay bar over the entire car. I went back over the entire thing with the one cut, and then I actually waxed it. Normally I ceramic coat everything, but because there's a lot of defects in the paint, I used some Dodo Juice wax. You can still see there's little circles in the lacquer, and I don't know, this looks like original paint that something has fallen on in the past. But yeah, obviously the wheels are all pretty manky, so they all need refurbing. We've got the nice new Falcon tyres on it, which gives it a really nice ride and handling. There are a lot of stone chips and scratches everywhere. I could maybe do with another hit of one cut again, but it's through to the paint, through the lacquer in a lot of places. We have got just dust on it, little scratches, little chips everywhere. This doink is actually quite bad in the back wing, but you could probably push that out and then fill it smooth. I noticed last night when I was polishing it, I think the roof has been repainted at some point, so I'd like to get that repainted again, because you can see where the tailgate is original. This has got less of a smooth surface and less of a shine. Original Seawards number plate. That's the exhaust, which looks too pea shootery. Oh, we're still shooting crud out of that. I would like to change that for a bigger exhaust. That looks just feeble on the back of that. This side, we've likewise got little stone chips up the back of there, which is a shame. And I noticed, where was it? Other side, no. So this wing has been repainted. It's not a bad finish, but it's not got the same kind of lacquer finish as proper paint, so that needs to be painted again. And obviously the bumper has taken a small clonk on the corner down here. It's had a scrape and it's misaligned, so it needs to come off, be painted and realigned properly. Oh yeah, I noticed up here, I can't find it now, one of these top rails, the thingy in the lacquer just there, it's just here. The light catches it sometimes as bubbles in the paint. I think this has been painted on this side as well, and we've got some lacquer bubbling just there, which is not great. So there we have it, various paint imperfections which do need a significant amount of tarting up in the future. Interior wise, the thing is incredibly nice. We've got the unique to the VI fabric seats. I was actually looking at a Jag XKR the other day, and it had the same fabric on parts of the doors, which I thought was quite interesting. I'll do a full review of this car in the very near future, but it looks nice. It looks really nice. From a distance, you don't notice those problems. I've still got the under tray to go back on underneath the front of the engine bay area, but I'm not going to put that back on until I've done the final oil change, just in case I need anything else to go back on again. Oh, we've got a little dimple just there. That needs filling or dent rectifying. So there are a number of issues, but the car does run really nicely and it drives really nicely as well. I have wanted one of these, a VI specifically, since the 1990s. I'd also really like a BRM, but there's something about the VI which is a little bit more understated, a little bit cooler, because you're driving under the radar, if that makes sense. That, you know, it's just a little bit more special. Oh, something else I noticed as well when I was cleaning it, this rear window rubber has kind of got a bit crusty. I don't know if these are still available or not, but I'd quite like to replace that. If that is available, I would like to replace that. And the wipers all need repainting. So I've got a number of small tasks to be getting on with this in the near future. On that mark in the paint, the black mark in the paint, once it had gone away from the black, it left like a burn in the lacquer. So I don't know what that was that had left a mark in it. So this is a very nice car. It drives very nicely. I know from comments and messages, this has been a very, very loved car over the years. Various people in the Rover community have owned it and enjoyed it. But obviously it's picked up a few battle scars over the years, and so we need to be sorting. Oh, also both sides, I need to be sanding this paint here before it gets any worse, because that is starting to just crust a wee bit on that side and on that side. In fact, no, I don't think it's crusting. I think it's been just painted heavily with some kind of under seal stuff. So yeah, I want it to come off and be done again. So the question is, what do I do with this thing? How far do I take it? Do I spend, well, for a car this nice, it needs a nice paint job. Certainly multiple hundreds, possibly into the thousands, to get all the paint and body defects sorted out. So just do a few of them and make it just a bit more presentable, sort out any potential rust issues and make them go away. Certainly refurb the alloys, still look a bit manky. Performance-wise, it absolutely wants better brakes. EBC green stuff, better discs, new exhaust. That would make a big difference. I don't think I would change the suspension setup, because although I've slammed the coupe and it looks really, really good, and this is riding a little high. 90s cars always ride too high. That's even the sports ones. It rides really nicely, and it'd be a shame to spoil that. Other question is, now that the brake lights are not fixed and I've untaxed the tourer, do I take this or do I take something else up to the motorist in Yorkshire? I imagine this will be quite a good one because it'll be fairly frugal on fuel. I'm not sure how much stuff I'll get in the back of it in terms of table, maybe a pop-up gazebo thing and all the merchandise. I might struggle to fit things in it. That's one issue which I just thought of. But yeah, this would be quite fun to take up to the motorist because you can see kind of a midpoint in a project. I forgot to put black on these bits. Did all the other bits of black. Diamond Bright Replenish, really good stuff. Oh, a bit of a scrape there. The more I look at this car, the more problems I see, and the more I can see I'm going to have to spend a bunch of money on it. Anyway, well, let me know what you think. First of all, I'm very glad we've got one more VI back on the road, which I think takes it to the 19 or 20 running taxed driving examples in Britain. What I'll do with it next, who knows? Let me know in the comments. But if you've enjoyed this, please do, as always, like, subscribe, grab yourself a Broken Rovers and Shattered Dreams t-shirt, because that is the Rover dream, isn't it? The Rover life, I should say, rather than the Rover dream. Just as you got it working again, a random bolt appears jingling onto the road surface. Who knows? That's life. But yes, these are available over on furiousdriving.co.uk. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Patreon if you want to help support the channel. I'll see you again next time. I might go back to the V8.